meeting of the Stonington Board of Police Commissioners for Thursday, October 14, 2021, and start with pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get to the remarks of the public, we do have a quorum here. Two of the other police commissioners, Commissioner Turner and Commissioner Bates, are both traveling outside the state and weren't able to make the meeting tonight. But with the three of us here, we do have a quorum and we can conduct business. I have a couple of things I want to bring up. I want to congratulate Officer Nick Long here at the police department. He's been here for 4 years and he's been selected to be Officer of the Year by the Elks, and this is a result of being voted on by the supervisors here at the police department. And this Friday he'll be getting an award at the Elks in Groton for that. The other thing is that on October 24th, we're going to have the blessing of the vehicles at Central Baptist Church at 4:30 in Westerly, to be followed by a mass readings at Christ Church if everybody wants to go in Westerly. That's October 24th. So those are a couple of things I wanted to bring up. The second thing is we're going to table the thank you for Commissioner Tabor. This is Commissioner Tabor's last meeting on the commission. We're going to move that till after the report of the chief. I know he wants to be first, but it's going to be a little later, Bob.
Always Bob too, right? Always Bob too.
Yeah, you want to be first. We'll move on to remarks of the public. If you are on the agenda, please wait till the agenda item comes up. If you're not on the agenda, if there's any remarks of the public, if anyone would like any remarks, is there anybody here that would like to comment on something that's not on the agenda?
Am I on the agenda? I don't know. Montauk Avenue?
You are not on the
You're
agenda.
not on the agenda. Please stand up, sir, and tell us your name and your concern.
So, yeah, my name is David Schlaes. I'm a retired physician. I've lived on Montauk Avenue for the last 16 years. We walk on that street every day. I don't know how familiar you are with Montauk Avenue, but it's a long, straight road. It goes for about 3 miles south to north from Route 1 to Pellegrino. It has no sidewalks. And there are a number of people other than us who walk or bicycle on this road daily. And the problem with it is, number one, there are some cars that speed. But the biggest problem is that it has a double yellow line in the middle of the road with a rumble strip. And so this discourages drivers from moving over to make room for pedestrians or bicyclists. The other problem is that on that road, in the absence of sidewalks, there are not always places where a pedestrian can move over to get out of the road for the traffic. You know, there are bushes, it's overgrown, there's poison ivy, so there's a steep, in one place there's a steep swale wall. So there are just places where it's hard to get out of the way of cars. And I think it's dangerous. So I think potential solutions would be a sidewalk, which would solve everything, or removing the rumble strip and the double yellow line and having signage that encourages motorists to move over for pedestrians and bicyclists, and 3, better enforcement of speed limits. But otherwise, I think we're just waiting for somebody to get hurt.
Well, thank you very much for your comments. Take that into consideration. Unfortunately, a number of roads in the town have turned into raceways, not only Montauk Avenue, Greenhaven Road. A lot of these roads have turned into heavily trafficked and increasing speed. As far as the roadways, these roadways were designed without sidewalks, very, very narrow, very difficult for us to improve any sidewalks on there. From my perspective, and I'll ask the other commissioners to comment on this when I'm finished, is the rumble strips provide a lot of advantages. It notifies the driver when he's outside his lane and provides a danger to other vehicles. They just had a head-on collision in the last 2 days on Route 12 in Ledger that killed one individual, sent another individual out, just because of that factor. And we've had accidents in the town where people have not paid attention. We actually had a fatal accident on Cottrell Boulevard that was caused by somebody inattentive, really looking at his phone and not paying attention and going off. If they had rumble strips there, there's a possibility the person would have been aware of that and would have changed it, and moved back in and not caused an accident. So I'm not sure that removal of the rumble strips provides a benefit to the traffic safety and on that road. As far as towns, signs goes, people have a tendency to disregard signs there for a while. And we tend to see here in the commission get complaints about sign pollution. The more signs you put up, the more possibility is that that's going to, after a while, it's not going to be effective. But I'd like to ask the other commissioners comments on that. Mr. Tabor, Commissioner Tabor?
Yeah, I was interested in your comments, Mr. Shields, relative to the hesitancy of folks that are walking, say, on Montauk, as to why you don't think vehicles actually move over the rumble strip. The reason I'm asking, I travel that road often, at least a couple times a day, and I generally move over if I see someone walking.
Yeah, so do I.
Whether it's a singular person with a dog, sometimes it's multiple folks, not in a single line, but actually walking abreast with a couple of dogs. So you have no choice but to move over. So I don't see any reason that people don't think about moving, driving off. As a matter of fact, most of the time, whenever I do it, people actually wave or give me a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Because I provided extra room.
Yeah, I think about 50%, I would say up to 50% of drivers don't move over when we walk.
Commissioner Elmer, do you have any comments?
No, I concur with you, Mr. Chairman, regarding the rumble strips. I mean, they're there for safety purposes. They serve a purpose they serve is obvious, and removing them makes absolutely no sense to me at all.
Thank you. Chief, do you have any comments on this issue?
Oh, boy. First of all, this state of Connecticut Department of Transportation did the rumble strips at basically the request of the town, or they reached out to us and said, do you want these strips at certain locations? Montauk Avenue qualified because of the straightaway and the concern about people going over. One of the first questions I asked was, has anybody in the state of Connecticut, through the Department of Transportation, complained about the rumble strips? The answer was no. So until tonight, we got one. So I'll let them know we got one complaint about rumble strip. You're first in line. Are they coming out? They're gonna come out when they eventually repave the road. Then it'll be a question whether they're gonna put them back in. And that was done by the state. The town doesn't have the ability to put the rumble strip in. That was done by the state of Connecticut. So you have to bide some time there. The rumble strip does a couple things. It actually slows you down. It doesn't speed you up. It actually acts as almost a I wouldn't call it a speed bump, but it gives you that shock enough to say, oh, okay, I'm over there. And if you're walking in the road and they go across the center line to go around you, which they should be doing, it actually slows them down. It doesn't speed them up, so it works. You are a cut through. We're dealing that around town. We have a population explosion to the degree of not only population by people that reside here, but people that come and visit here, that people decide whether they're going to go from point A to B. Sometimes you get GPS and other stuff that send you down certain roads. It'll send you down Hewitt Road, it'll send you down Cove Road even, because of Stonington Middle School. You have more traffic because of the school system, and they go around that way. They figured out that instead of going down Flanders Road, I can go down Montauk Avenue, and it's straight away. I love it. I'm going to go fast. I think the speed limit, average speed limit was 3 or 4 miles over the speed limit. Not bad. Okay, I held the land speed record about probably 200 yards from where you walk. A number of years ago, it lasted for over 20 years. 119 miles an hour on Lord's Hill. Okay, It was recently broke last year, the year before now, on Route 184, 125 miles an hour. So everybody is in a hurry. Go on 95, do the speed limit, you take your life into your own hands because everybody's in a hurry. Montauk Avenue is no different. If you're walking in the roads, you've got to be aware. Don't assume that the operators are seeing you, care about you, or anything along that line, and we have found that. I grew up on River Road in Pawcatuck. Used to be able to, 5 or 6 years old, go to my friend's house, go to my grandmother's house down the road, walk in the road, everything, no issues to worry about. If I had a 25-year-old, I would tell them, don't walk in the road down there right now because traffic has increased so much. That is a change in what goes on in communities, whether it's growth, good, bad, or in between, but that's one of the growing pains that comes with a place like Montauk Avenue and being a cut-through. Signs, they work okay here or there, but nothing earth-shattering unless it's flashing at you or has some kind of visual acuity that somebody thinks that they're gonna get a ticket or have a police officer stop them. The problem that we have here in Stonington is if I send a police car up there, they could sit there for an hour, 2 hours, and maybe have 5, 6, 8, 12 cars go by, and you're not getting the one that you really want. And the stats that we give to you, you always have to have some outliers there, because if you get the 50, 60 miles an hour ones, they're like, yeah, that's going way too fast. It could be us. It could be a police car on its way to an emergency, and they're going that way, so it throws off everything as far as speeds go. So we always have to factor in that type of stuff. You are not alone. It doesn't solve your problem, what I'm talking about. We hear you. Continue to have discussions about it. You can call in here and we can try and best we can have an officer up there, sit for a while, and that usually sends a little bit of a message. But, even Montauk Avenue, the speed sign, we're getting it, Jeremy Hill Road, River Road, Mechanic Street, Asher Avenue, Morgan Street, Hewitt Road, Lantern Hill Road, where's the other ones? Cove Road. Farm Home. Cove Road was having an issue as well. So it's a product of what goes on. It doesn't solve your problem. It's not gonna make you feel warm and fuzzy, but we hear you, we know about it, but there are not easy solutions other than to have a police car, black and white right there, with a police officer that says, here's your ticket, you don't slow down. That's the best I can do. Just when you're in the roadway, you gotta be careful, because people are distracted. That's
Just
for sure.
one other observation, again, because I travel that road a lot. Some folks at night that are walking the dog, generally, I see, after dark, they prudently carry a flashlight or something that they might have an illuminated vest on or something. But many times, there's a lot of folks in dark clothing that are walking the road.
And they're pulled, and I'm gonna be up there.
And, I mean, they are very, very difficult to see.
Yeah.
So, if you have any conversations with some of your neighbors, obviously advise them to at least carry a flashlight and leave it.
And if there's a time that it's a problem, like if you recognize, hey, every morning between 8 and 8:30, we got that blue pickup truck that's, really flying, beautiful, that works in our world. Because we usually find the blue pickup and half your battles won at that point.
I'll take my phone.
What's that?
I'll take my phone.
Yeah. So I hope that helps in some little way, but, keep it up and take a look. We're not throwing in the towel, but that's how we end up doing things with speed enforcement. Very difficult. The chair, he ran the traffic division for the Connecticut State Police for a lot of years, and how you slow people down. It's very difficult. We live in a free society, so people are able to move, and it's difficult. We put up signs, this is how your limit that you're supposed to drive. People don't listen to it, but you have to be there to do it, to do it. So I hope that.
We'll take your thoughts into consideration, but thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The next thing on the, under new business, we need a vote on the regular meeting schedule for next year. It's been passed out in your packages, Commissioners. Do I have a motion to accept as passed out the meeting agenda for next year for 2020?
So,
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Take care. Under new business, the Crop Hair Salon, is there anybody here from Crop? This is an issue that came to our attention from the owners of Crop Hair Salon, regarding the fact that they have some customers that have needs for 3-hour parking compared to the 2-hour parking out there on Cottrell Street. The email that we received stated that we had changed the hours from 3 hours to 2 hours, and that's not correct. 2 hours has always been the limit on Cottrell Street for parking. I've actually met with the owner of the salon, talked to her about her issue. I also expressed her that she should try to establish some additional parking spaces with Amanda that has the new parking lot behind their business. And I did talk to Amanda about that also from Whalers Inn, and hopefully they can work something out here. There's an issue with a number of our clients had received parking tickets, and instead of paying the parking tickets in a timely manner, the owners of the salon have collected the parking tickets, and I don't think that we're ready to make a concession of removing those tickets. The captain is the parking enforcement board to look at these tickets. Can you get anything like to say about this, Captain, on these tickets?
I mean, I understand their position as you do as well, and I think another resource or another location for parking is going to be their fix, because if you can't designate a couple spots for just their business because other people will park there, you'd never be able to hold them unless you put an attendant there. They certainly wouldn't want to pay for that. So they did collect the tickets from customers that received them, figuring they're either going to have to pay them or they were hoping they'd be taken back. I have taken back several tickets over the years from that business and avoided them, but seeing what was going on now and how many tickets they've accumulated, which I believe they're less than 5, that I was going to wait for your approval on whether to take them back or not.
Any commissioners have any comments?
I don't see any need to take them back.
I agree.
All right, take care of that. The next thing on the agenda is a special use permit we have from, the first one is from Grass and Bone. Grass and Bone presently has a liquor license to serve just beer and wine, and they're looking to expand it to regular cocktails, so they're going to be coming to the zoning board to ask about this adjustment. Do the commissioners have any comments on this?
No.
Chief?
You got both of them right there. There's Grass and Bones and Nana's Bakery. I think it's under a different name.
Right.
I don't think, is anybody here from?
I am.
From them? You're
Yes.
one of the owners?
Yes.
I've emailed back and forth with Attorney Sweeney.
Okay.
About-
Which, you're the owner from which one?
My name's Aaron Lakely, I'm the owner of both.
Okay.
So, well, welcome.
Thank you.
You've got to bifurcate the two issues though, right?
Right, but I think, let me just, if I can just throw it out here, that both places, in speaking with Attorney Sweeney or emailing with him, that there's going to be no change in hours, no real change in, I guess, their core value, if you want to call it that. They're not going to be nightclubs,
No.
not going to change sort of their persona, that they're just looking to have the opportunity to, and Nana's serve beer and wine, and at Grass and Bones, it would be a full bar menu, or whatever you want to call it there, that I'm sure would be a few things in there. As long as if they're not expanding it because of the, sort of the neighborhood, et cetera, at Grass and Nana's, you're gonna have to probably control if you're handing out something that where
Yep.
your liquor license is gonna allow you to go.
Yeah, and we have designated seating at Nana's, but again, nothing's changing to the layout of either location or the hours of either location.
Let me ask you a question. At Nana's, when you serve somebody beer or wine, they're going to be consumed inside the building?
We do have that outdoor patio that's kind of designated separate, differentiated than the Sea Swirl crowd. they would be able to take a glass of wine or beer outside to
How
that.
do you designate that? Because my concern is, once they go outside, there's nobody controlling them. They could wander off and sit in the benches that are for Sea Squirrel, or they could go out on the Broadway property. How do you intend to control that that's the only place the beer and wine is going to be consumed?
I mean, we do have, you know, my cashiers and everybody that's bringing this out to them. So I don't think we're gonna really be giving people beer or wine that they're gonna just walk outside the door with. The other thing we could do is within, you know, the building owner of the Garbarinos, is maybe help designate that seating a little bit more. If that's something that you guys would want us to do, we can have that conversation with Bob and Skip Garbarino. We are kind of offset back there. I know Sea Swirl allows on-premise drinking, they don't serve alcohol, but they do have BYOB that they're allowed to. So, but they don't have any issues. I know that Garbarinos, one of their main things is that this is a family environment for both establishments, Sea Swirl and for Nana's, that we do, you know, we do want to continue to make sure that it's.
See the little signs on the thing that says
No
no
alcohol.
alcohol
Yeah,
behind.
no alcohol behind this premise, yeah.
Sure, at this point.
Sure, we can put that up.
I don't have an issue with grass and bone as well, as far as the expansion, because it's a singular location. I don't have an issue with that. I do have an issue with Nana's, and I think my recommendation to the P and Z would be to just limit it to inside the building and not outside. And I understand you have very limited seating inside, but it's not that parcel is not a single use. You have Sea Swirl and Broadway Auto, yes. But I have, my recommendation to P and Z would not be for exterior consumption of alcohol.
I understand that. I mean, you know, our goal is just to kind of, you know, because of the limited seating, being able to serve beer and wine would help us tremendously as a business. We obviously don't want to interrupt Sea Swirl's business or, you know, the Broadway Autos. Signage, anything that we can do to allow people to have a nice, I mean, that is kind of the key focal point of what we do is that you can sit by the water right there and have a nice pizza, have some nice coffee, and being able to consume like a beer on that patio would help us tremendously.
This is a decision that's going to be, is not our decision.
Sure.
So if you can convince the zoning board that you are able
Yep.
to control that area.
Yep.
That's their decision to make, so you will
Okay.
vote those things and certainly be able to do that cheap.
It's a bit of a moot point, I think, at this point because of some of the COVID
Right.
lifting parts of restaurants, et cetera. So you see all the restaurants right now that have seating outside and they're serving alcohol, and that was never allowed on the outside of the building. It used to be the premises of the building, which was really the four corners of the building, unless you had a special patio permit that allowed you to go beyond the borders of the four walls. So right now, under the COVID restrictions, et cetera, it allows for restaurants to expand that to their outside areas and not have to jump through the hoops as far as patio extensions, et cetera. Their peril is this, is do we as the police really care whether somebody has a pizza and a beer at a picnic table that they control? I don't care at all. If somebody decides to take that beer away from his premises and starts walking down Route 1 with it, then he is in violation of liquor law and his liquor license becomes in jeopardy. So there is always a penalty, if you want to call it, for not controlling your premises. So, I mean, it's natural. I don't see this being a huge issue down the road for us in any way, shape, and form. If it does get out of hand, then there's a penalty that they pay with the liquor commission, and they go from there. But we sort of have the assurances of, obviously this gentleman here tonight, Attorney Sweeney, that it was not going to be something that would be regrettable on the part of any of our staff. So I don't see an issue here for this one, but that's your call.
And it's clearly incumbent on you to communicate with your patrons the
Absolutely.
rules they have to play by.
Absolutely.
And not to think they can run fast and loose with them, that it isn't gonna matter once they get out the door, because it is.
Of course, of course. I mean, the type of business we operate to, we're closed by 8 o'clock. There's a lot of families. It's not a party scene back there. It's not something the Arborinos want at all. It's absolutely something that we're willing to control.
And let me tell you something, if you have one of their pizzas and it's that hot sauce, you're gonna want a beer. Get it down, if not, you're gonna be on fire,
All right, so we pass.
right?
Yes.
The comments from the commissioners, the commission will be to pass on the zoning, as long as the area is controlled, there's no problem in either areas.
I'll go along with that, with the maybe additional comment relative to Nanas, that you work with the Garbarinos to better differentiate
Okay,
the area.
okay.
You know, appropriate signage, whatever
Fair.
they need to do, I mean, should be very clear to them what they're not supposed to do.
Absolutely fair.
At least make your best effort to do that.
You guys.
I've seen with like, I've seen them with the metal grates sort of,
Yeah.
around where you walk through and go in.
Yep.
And they have signs that say no alcohol behind this point.
Yep.
I've seen them with the, the velvet rope, but not the velvet ropes.
Sure.
And people get the idea. And if they walk off, there's certain things that you can't control in the world. But with that though, you also, if you see somebody, they walk behind you and tell them, hey, you gotta come back in, and they go, no, I'm not leaving, then you can call us. Then it's their problem, not ours.
Unlike Sea Swirl, we serve a lot of our food on dishes, plates. We intend to serve, glasses of wine, a pint of beer. It's not gonna be a Narragansett can that somebody can walk away with. But I absolutely think it's in our benefit too, to designate that area better.
Great,
All right.
thank you.
The pizza's hot too.
Not even.
I'll have to try that.
We'll be over
Thank you.
Thank you.
that. We'll be over that.
Next item on the agenda
Gotta vote
is,
on that. You gotta vote.
we'll vote to send our comments that we made on to the zoning board.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to forward the comments that we just articulated here. One, as it pertains to Grass and Bone, and also Nanas, but with the additional sentence or comment relative to Nanas that they do, that make a best effort to better differentiate their area for the consumption of alcohol.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Moving on to the next issue, this has to do with an email regarding parking issues, request for handicap parking at McLaren's Court. Is there anyone here from that?
Yes.
Can you come up and tell us your name and the issue?
I'm Philip Zwick, I'm one of the,
Go ahead, that's fine.
yeah,
David Kazar.
yeah, so we own 214 North Water, and I have a handicap spot, or pass, and I'd like to get a spot where I can have a handicapped space to park.
Eventually, the plan is we're going to end up having to build a handicap ramp because his mobility is really decreasing. So luckily we have a double lot, we have North Water Street and we have McGrath. So if we do it in the front of our house on North Water Street, there's very limited space between our driveway and the front of the house. So this would allow for a much easier handicap ramp into the house coming off McGrath. So that's the main reason.
But, you've been before the board before with issues about there's been about neighborhood problems with this particular area regarding parking. Have
Parking
you
on
not?
McGrath is, yes.
What's the issue with that?
It's our neighbor at 312 North Water Street. Before we bought the house, they parked on our land. We had an A2 survey done, we've had the whole yard completely fenced in now, so, because we didn't know exactly where the boundaries were. Since we've been doing that, we've been having more trouble with the neighbor, we've been calling the police department repeatedly. He's called it on us, I mean, it's ongoing, we've had to get an attorney involved. So it's easier again for Phil to come from over there because it's more flat, it's off, it's not his land, but he's been parking, we put up the fence because it's right around our lot, back and right before the lawn. So it's one of the reasons that we actually did that and put the fence, and we have a gate and everything like that. So we like a handicap spot in front of the gate for people to access the house much easier because we're gonna need the ramp.
Chief, do you have any comments about this?
Having not been out there, do you have off-street parking? Do you have a driveway?
We have a driveway, yes, but it's right, like, we're right on North Water, so like from the front door of the house to the driveway is probably as close as we are. So to do a ramp, it's gonna not be like this, you know, to have a, it's gonna be much easier to put it in the back of the house. One, it will also make the house look better. You're not gonna see it in the back of the house. No one's gonna see it. McGrath is dead in the street, it's only a couple homes. So by putting the ramp and coming in from McGrath to the house, the ramp would be able to be far more easy, you know, won't be as slow.
Would have to go out and look at it.
Okay.
I can't
I
visualize
mean, I have a
that.
picture of the yard.
And
but
then,
the backyard's flat.
no good deed goes unpunished.
Yep.
What is the fallout with neighbor? Are they, this?
No matter what we do,
it's
doesn't,
gonna be
no
a-
matter what he
Probably
does.
doesn't really matter
I mean,
what we-
your department, they came, spoke with me last week for an hour, and they recommended that we put cameras on our property. We put all cameras, and he's been quiet since then because he's been filming us repeatedly.
Yeah.
So that has helped quite. We had a week, the most peaceful week we've had in a long time, by since we put up the camera system.
I'd recommend that because of this back and forth, that you table it and come back to it next month. And then we do the letter to the neighborhood that basically says we're looking at that, and then you guys can decide all that. And in all fairness to you guys, I don't think you've been down there to take a look either.
I've been down, I was down there when we had the original complaint, but I've been down there lately, so we'd have to look at that.
Yeah.
Right, all fairness to the commission too.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'll make a motion to table this until next month.
All right.
Would you like us to come back with the next?
Yes.
next one? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
Second, Deb?
Second.
In favor, I table to next month.
awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mystic, next item on the agenda is the Mystic Chamber and Fire Department Halloween Parade. And Captain, I know you've been dealing with this, can you give us information?
So the fire department, Hoxie Fire Department is trying to resurrect a Halloween parade that they used to have that was during the evening normally, and it would start on Water Street, and just at the beginning of Water Street, Groton Town would assist. It would come down Water onto Route 1, Route 1 over the drawbridge, and it would follow Route 1 all the way to the monument, take a right onto Broadway, and then back to the firehouse. Every year they had this, I was biting my nails, nervous about somebody hitting someone's because it was at night. And granted, they had fire trucks and everything, but we would also disturb traffic on Route 1, something awful. So I was part of the chamber meeting. The chamber is also part of this, and convinced them that the better path, the safer path, is to come over the bridge and take a right on Cottrell. And go down Cottrell, go down Washington, and then back to their firehouse where they're gonna have a magic show and a bunch of different things. So that is the route, and they have already submitted insurance. The fire department got a rider on their insurance to cover the event. The chamber, several different agencies are involved. We're assisting them as well. They have Groton on board to assist with the Groton side traffic, and then we'll be doing our side. But it was never really an issue, even when it went down Route 1, it was just nerve-wracking because it was in the dark. Now it's kicking off at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and it literally will walk across, it'll be daylight, hopefully no rain, and right back to the firehouse, so
When did this start, Captain? I'm sorry.
1 PM.
Where?
Oh, I'm sorry, almost right in front of,
Sid.
Sith, yes. And then it just, everybody just jumps in the street and follows the fire truck. We have a police car in the back and the front, and it just was right across the bridge and then get off of Route 1 very quickly, much quicker than it used to. So I don't see an issue with it at all.
What's the date?
On Halloween.
On Halloween,
Yep.
31st,
Yes.
Sunday?
Yep. And then Old Mystic has one as well, but we're gonna assist with both. Theirs is really small. What's that?
Hoxie? Where's it at?
It ends right at Hoxie Firehouse. Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions? You recommend that we approve this, Captain?
Yeah, I'm happy that they agreed to take a safer path, and I don't see it being an issue. I see it being a little larger than normal because the Stonington Borough canceled their Halloween parade this year because of COVID. So I would assume a lot of the participants there, the kids dressing up, are all gonna go over to the Hoxie event. And it should be good and safer going down Cottrell.
Have a motion to approve the Halloween parade?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
You're gonna be notifying everybody on the route, right?
Yes.
Next, under traffic, this is the Old Mystic Estates, which is off of Cottrell. Yeah, and this is more of a notification. They had a cul-de-sac there at one time. They came to see us when they had a cul-de-sac. And they're just opening up the cul-de-sac. Is that correct?
Right, may at some point in time, next time when we're out and about up in that area, see if we have to place any speed limit signs or any additional signing because of that opening up. That would be the only thing is for follow-up. Next time I'm in that area, I'll take a look as well.
Any questions from the commission? Next on traffic is the street light request for Finley Way and Stanton Lane. Chief, I believe you've looked into this great length.
I won't call it great length, but it's basic cul-de-sacs that are no traffic accidents, no crime on either one of these. So I have a rating form that the town developed years ago that basically asks me is the new light needed at this location due to public safety and or past history of issues at this location? It's a 1 in my world. I think it probably torpedoes the traffic light. So I had one gentleman, he called me today upset. So actually Sergeant Hirsch was going to go out and take a look and see if I'm missing something, but I don't think I'm missing anything. This is low traffic area. It's a cul-de-sac with 2 or 3 houses and stuff, so
Well, it's no,
it's FYI.
yeah, okay, thank you. One thing that's not on the traffic is the race.
Yes.
And that should be on here. Are we gonna, nobody's here, I don't see anybody here,
She wants to call in though.
okay?
And I believe yes, the number is, number I should call is,
Yeah, this is the one we had all the questions about.
Oh,
Yeah, the one, you remember last was your table last year?
it is 435-630-1533. You want to just take a quick vote to add that to the agenda?
Yeah. Vote, can I
Yeah, I'll make a motion to
have a
add
motion till we add the
the discussion about the race. Forget the name of it.
The Wagner Relay.
Relay to our agenda.
sorry.
Hello, this is Amber.
Hello. Hi Amber, it's the police department calling about the race. You're on.
Hi guys, how are you?
Good.
Very well.
So here you go, guys. That's
Can you put it over here?
I'm having a hard time hearing.
All right, yeah, that's a lot of noise, a lot of paperwork here, Amber. This is Bob O'Shaughnessy. I had a couple of questions. You're coming into Stonington from River Road correctly to Shoeville Road to the church, correct?
Yes.
Once the runner leaves the church, how far does that one runner run, and where does the first exchange take place? How far along and does that take place? Does it take place all the way at the next church, or are there
Yeah.
relay? So that runner is going to one runner is going to run from Shoeville Road to the next church, correct?
Yes.
Is that runner followed by any vehicles?
So the vehicles are on the same road, but we have a stipulation for this particular For all the areas in Stonington, because of the nature of the road and the shoulders, they are not to pull over. Staff will be on course and we will issue them a violation if they pull over. It's specified on the app and the website, and that's where they get all their information. That's put up there by me. I can change that at any point. It's live, but they will be on the road, but they'll be going directly to the exchange point.
So there's one vehicle with each runner, with a support team of people inside the vehicle?
Yes, and
So-
so the runner will typically start and they'll get a mile up, and then the vehicle will leave and head up to the next exchange. And once they get there, the next runner, they'll stretch, they'll get out, they'll use the portable toilets. And then once that exchange happens, they'll head on down the road. The next leg is also no support, because first off, we're on that turnpike, which doesn't have great areas. And second, the vehicles are not allowed on Angola Road.
So maybe I'm confused here a little bit. The runner leaves, so where does the vehicle go? The vehicle that's with that runner, with the support team, where does that vehicle go?
From the church?
Yeah, where does it go? Does it go right to the next, does it just leave and go right to the next exchange point?
Yes, I have stand directions, turn-by-turn directions. They go up to the Rotary, take a right, and head down into Westerly, where they go to St. Pius Church.
Okay,
So they aren't with the runner,
okay.
other than just on that turnpike road where they're just getting out of Stonington.
Okay, Amber, this is Commissioner Tabor. Just for clarification, we sent off yesterday or the day before some questions to you. And in one of your responses, you indicated there was 150 teams that were signed up. And then
Yes.
later on in a subsequent question, my interpretation was that you're defining a team as a runner with an associated vehicle. Is that correct?
Yes, each vehicle has 3 to 6 people. One of them is actively running. The rest of them are just meeting them at the exchange point.
Okay, so of that team, there's only one runner from that team on the road at any particular point in time.
Yes,
And you estimate, one of the other questions was the duration of the race, and your estimate is, worst case, 7 hours from the first running group or team to the last team.
yes, we have, so at each of my exchange points, in order to make sure that we don't have stragglers that are, because a lot of times I have police detail out there, I always have volunteers. So each exchange point has a window where it's open and then it is closed, and they are not allowed to go through during those times. So sometimes, at this point in the race, we don't see this, but sometimes they'll have to just skip a leg and go to the next one so that they can stay within those boundaries, so we have that support. So they absolutely will not be there after that time. Generally, in the morning, they're running pretty quick. It's cold, so they'll get there about the time we expect. But because they're running quick, they could be done as much as an hour earlier.
And your staff monitors their pace, if you will?
Yes.
And
We do. They give us their team pace, and that's actually how I start them in the waves, is based on their pace. Then I run a simulation that says about when they're going to hit each exchange point, how many are going to be on each leg. And at the exchange points, we have volunteers, community groups, charities that mark off the runners, and they are kicked over a monetary donation, which is nice for us to be able to do that. We're grateful that we have that. But they mark them off so we know if they've gone through. We know where the last runner is. I have a staff member, so I have one go through before the race to make sure all is well. And they're about an hour before runners. I have one go through with those first runners to make sure we have a good flow of things. Runners tend to follow each other. We want to make sure they're going the right way, behaving appropriately. I go through after that, so I am with the most runners. When we expect our peak, I'm there, and I have someone with me just in case we need help with traffic or there's questions at the exchange point. I have one about an hour behind me, and then I have another one with that last team. And those these volunteers, and they include detail and let everyone know, they're through the town.
so you actively manage the racers so that if somebody's really lagging, you basically tell them, okay, folks, you're skipping this next leg to get
Yes.
caught up. And-
Yeah.
And you're,
And most of our teams are not, they're just there to have a good time. They're not there competitively, so they don't know skipping.
So, Maida, when you start off at the church on Shoe Hill Road, how many total teams will be in the parking lot there that are gonna be sent off on individuals? How many teams will you have in the park, in the Shoe Hill Road Church?
So it'll be the same. It's similar to the exchange point in Stonington. The actual start of the race is in Groton Town. And so the church in Shoeville is exchange point 3. So it's the same, so they're just trickling in. There's not a wave or a certain amount leaving at any given time. They start in waves of, I have them anywhere from 16, so 6 runners, up to 13, leaving that start point at Eastern Point Beach, and they are spread out by the time they hit that first exchange point. Sometimes you'll see 2 come in at the same time, racing each other. That's always fun to see, but you don't see any groups.
Well, when they're at Shoe Hill Road, right? And you send them off, how big a group will you be sending them off in runners? Will it be 2, 3, 6, 10? It's not one individual, right? You're gonna send them off in groups?
Nope. At that point, they're all spread out, and so as a team member runs in, the next one, they hand them a stop bracelet, and they go straight out.
Okay.
So there's no waiting for any sort of group. It's just a smooth flow.
So by the time it gets to Stonington, there's gonna be individual runners running on the road as opposed to when you first start them out, correct?
Yeah. When we start them out, they're on sidewalks, but by the time they're off the sidewalk, they're all spread out.
Okay. And when you're, and there are no vehicles following in, especially on Anguilla Road or on Elmridge Road, right?
The only vehicles on Anguilla and Elmridge will be the 6 back vehicles, just to make sure runners are going the right way, double check the signs. No vans are allowed there at all. There will actually be, you're gonna see blue signs. We don't stake, we don't paint on any roads. We wanna leave and have people not know we were there. So you're gonna see cones, traffic cones with a 3-foot blue coroplast sign. They'll say right, left, cross with caution, run on sidewalk. And I have some for vans. And so before Anguilla Road, I will have a sign that says vans straight. And then also in all of their directions online and on the app, it specifically says you will get a violation if you do not follow the van route, and it has turn-by-turn directions for them not to go on Anguilla.
Chief,
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that-
I'm still trying to figure out what this is
Yes.
and how it's gonna work. Amber, you're gonna cross, this is Chief Stewart, you're gonna cross Route 2 at Elmridge Road?
Yes.
All right, that is a ugly intersection. That's gonna require probably 2 police officers to be in that, because you're gonna then be running against traffic, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so you gotta cross there, and then I guess you're pretty much on your own as you get down Route 2, and sooner or later you hit some sidewalks, and then you get down into downtown Westerly and then into Rhode Island.
No, you're not, you're turning at the bridge, right? You're going into Rhode Island, you're not going straight down Route 2, right?
We're going down to Bridge Road. They'll go left on Bridge Road and cross into Westerly there.
Oh, the White Rock?
White Rock,
Oh,
White Rock
okay.
Bridge.
Okay,
Yes.
even better,
Yeah.
yeah. So as long as if you're willing to hire 2 police officers for,
Yeah, for sure. I typically end up with 30 to 40 detail throughout the race. If there's an area where you're nervous about a crossing, I understand there's either detail rate, sometimes overtime rate, we obviously absorb those costs. And I can send over the timing on when,
Yep.
I have the timing on the legs on about when the first runner will show up. We generally have detail there about 30 minutes before. And then I understand it's generally 4-hour blocks. So if it's a 9-hour period, which I think it's going to be closer to 7. But if it's a 9-hour period, I understand we cover 12. And then that last staff member will let the police know when that last runner's through.
I think because you saw her at the beginning of the race, I think you're probably not going to be spread out 7 hours between the start and the finish. But
I hope not. I start them, I start them out in waves between 5 and 11, so they start out at about 6 hours. At that point in the race, again, the last teams are quicker, so often you do see them getting through, again, up to an hour earlier, sometimes even more. That's always the hope, that we get them in and out of community quick. But again, worst case scenario, it's about 7 hours if they go exactly as we,
What do you have, a Clydesdale division?
I'm sorry.
Clydesdale division? Slow
That's my
going?
vision, man, like,
I
you
pulled,
catch us walking a lot.
I pulled my teeth, so there won't be any wagons.
Chief, you talked to the chiefs in Westerly and Groton about this?
I have not, no.
Yes, I've been working with Lieutenant Wolf, Lieutenant Jennings, and Lieutenant Gingerella.
Well, from Westerly Gingerella.
Yeah.
I mean, there.
And there's another Lieutenant Groton, I'm so sorry, his name is not in my mind right now, but he's the one that actually signs off on the DOT permit for the DOT permit.
All right, do any other commissioners have any questions? Can I have a motion on the race, Bob?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to approve the race that has been under discussion with the added stipulation that the requirement of hiring 2 police officers because crossing Route 2 is certainly potentially hazardous. And whatever other requirements the chief and or the captain may come up with prior to the beginning of the race.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Aye. All right, Amir, you gotta work with the chief on this one.
Perfect, yep.
Mostly.
I will, I'll wait to hear as far as detail and rates so I can get that into finance and we can get that.
Why don't you reach out on Monday, please, as soon as possible. so we
Okay, I
get
can do
this
that.
rolling.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from Thursday, 16th, the commission meeting of September 16th, as handed out in your packages. Do I have a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the special meeting on Thursday, September 16th, 2021, as presented.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Now we come to the report of the chief.
Okay, let's fly through this a little bit. Budget report is in, so we're only through a little bit of October, so we're 27.1% of the budget used, but we're 25% through. It's fairly typical for this time of year. A few things to look at is overtime is running hot and heavy because we were down so many people still, and we had the 3 in the academy that's, for lack of a better term, killing us with overtime because of the travel stuff that's there. Moving on, you have the monthly report, nothing outrageous in there. The one stat that I got to talk to Natalie about, she missed in there, was the referrals to human services, 2-in-1 referrals. That, off the top of my head, was in the 30s. She had a 0 in there, but we've been averaging about 45 to 48 a month. I think this last month we had 38, I think, off the top of my head, but I'll have to check with her. She had that. So that is obviously a program that has worked out extremely well, June. That position is, that Deanna Rushlow is doing outstanding and really helping out. You have your alarm report in there, FYI, special event schedule. We can add the Ragnar relay now to that one. Police support supervisor position. As you know, we have that approved in our budget as of January 1st, so I just put that in your packet so that if there's any further discussion you want to have on this, but it's going to go out the door this week and posted on our Facebook page, out to the Law Enforcement Council, out to the world, and see what kind of response we get. We're going to ask for a resume and cover letter, and then we'll take it from there. The position is $75,000, so we obviously got funded $37,500 for half the year, and to get the person up and going. We had the body cameras in, so they would be jumping in right away about the deployment, working with IT, etc. So it's all good stuff, unless you want to talk further about that. We're getting ready to roll. The AC update. The mentioned, I believe, last month that we are having issues with our air conditioning. So you'll like this one, June, as well, is our 4-year-old, almost 5-year-old Trane air conditioning units had what appeared to be a manufacturing defect in the coil system. Same defect for each unit that was supposed to last 20 years. We had to get the units evaluated, looked at, which cost $6,000 to do that. They came back and said it was going to be well into the $20,000 range plus to fix the units. So we talked with regional managers, etc., and they finally said, no, here's your price, $23,000 and plus. So that was not good enough. It took me a while, but I was able to find the North America, because it's an Irish company, North America President's Secretary, and got hold of her. I emailed her some information, and within 2 hours, I had a call from the New England manager asking what could be done to make it right. So they are fixing the $23,000 bill. That's gone. The only thing that we have to do is have the crane come. That's probably going to be about $2,000. So we saved $20,000 for a little bit of work last week. So that's good. So when the schools are doing their air conditioning, Trane is very much standing by their product. I want that officially on the record, that they have come forward, they've stood by it. In my world right now, nothing runs like a train. So hopefully they put in the
Good work.
the stuff there.
Good work.
And then, here we go. Per the commission's request last month, and there's mostly Bob 2, you wanted a list of accomplishments by the police department. Bear with me for a while here, just bear with me. So we have a chaplain program, canine program with 2 dogs, and this is going back 14 years now, so bear with me. New police boat plus new electronics, which is $400,000 in grants. New phone system, new air conditioning and heating at the police department. The air conditioning just got even better. Upgrade to dispatch center and radio system with savings in the millions by utilizing the state system. We've replaced our firearms twice since I've been chief. Transition to rifle in the wake of Sandy Hook tragedy. Stabilize the fleet with the Board of Finance, thanks to June. She helped with that a lot. Camera system implementation in schools. We're actually one of the first communities that the police are allowed to see into the schools in case of an issue. And we have cameras in the community and in the police department itself. We funded an accident reconstruction team and equipment so that they're out there. Matter of fact, they were just out on that accident we spoke about in Ledger to assist them. IT is now stationed with the IT manager basically stationed at the police department because of the amount of technology. We've replaced and upgraded 3 times bulletproof vests in those 14 years. We've increased the staff from 36 to 39 and added 1 sergeant and a police support supervisor. Traffic stop program implemented to track traffic stops per now state statute. Links program, which is a partnership with NCIS. We instituted an MOU with Westphalia Police Department. Instead of just doing it on a wing and a prayer, we have a mutual aid agreement with them. We've promoted a captain, 4 lieutenants, 5 sergeants, 3 youth officers, 2 detectives, and hired 28 police officers. We have 3 Stonington police officers that went on to be chiefs in other departments. Accreditation is in motion. Body cams have been purchased and awaiting deployment in the spring. We have a social worker back at the police department. We have a community outreach officer during COVID, which has been a huge success. I've had that opportunity to be the LEC president, which is the Law Enforcement Council of Eastern Connecticut, which covers 22 police departments, for 4 years, and been on their board and vice president for 3 years. CPCA board member, which is the Connecticut Police Chiefs Association, been the vice president and most recently president of the 106 police chiefs in Connecticut. I received the Police Commissioners Distinguished Chiefs Award, the St. Edmunds Medal of Honor. Thank you, Father Tom. With my wife. Grand Marshal of the Mystic Irish Parade. Yes, lads and ladies. Commencement speaker, which a lot of people never knew about, but I was a commencement speaker for the University of Connecticut graduation, one of my alma maters. A law day speaker for Salve Regina University, just to say a few. So, in 38 years as a police officer, starting with the Connecticut State Police, under Bob, Lieutenant Bob Wan was my commanding officer, and now ending with him. It's come full circle. 38 years here and almost 14 years as chief. I believe it's time for reflection. First one must always recognize the sacrifice of a police officer's family. Since the beginning, Beth has been with me through the good and tough times as a police officer. She encouraged me to go back to school again and again, 3 times. But also had to endure the late nights, missed gatherings, holidays, birthday parties, some of the life's most important times, so I could work. My 3 adult daughters grew up as a police officer's daughter and eventually the chief's daughter. And I always appreciated their flexibility and understanding. Each of the 4 women I just spoke about are truly amazing leaders and the rock and support behind everything I do. Plus now I'm a grandfather. They're amazing in their careers, and I look forward to the many accomplishments I know are in store for them all. Thank them. I'm thanking them. I always subscribe to a theory of respecting your past, managing the present, and looking to making a better future. I have to thank my predecessors, Chief Carl Johnson, who hired me, the late Chief Patrick Hedge, who promoted me and provided opportunity, and most of all, Dave Erskine, for continued support, guidance, and still a sounding board for me. He just spoke to me a little while ago. To the past, Captain Jerry Desmond and his health battles. My thoughts and prayers go out to Jerry. He was at my side during many difficult cases. Captain Todd Olson stepped right into Jerry's shoes when he retired and has done an absolute great job in embracing technology, working with the officers, supervisors, and the public, and thus making Stonington a safer and better place to live, work, or visit. To the future, the police department is in great hands. We have talented supervisors, officers, and staff that will continue to move this organization forward with the help of a very supportive Board of Police Commissioners. I've worked under many commissioners, 7 first selectmen and women, 4 as chief, and numerous boards of finance members. I appreciate all their support and tolerance by them of all my ideas and zeal in moving the police department forward. Tonight, there's no formal letter to give you, but I will spit one to you in short order, announcing my retirement after 38 years in Stonington. I plan on staying on for a while, but intend to be fully retired by July 1st, 2022. I will take my leave with appreciation to the town, its residents, the many boards of police commissioners I've worked with, especially the officers and staff I've had the absolute privilege to work with and lead. When you become a police officer, your goal is to always make a difference. I gave a list earlier to you, and I believe I've accomplished everything on my to-do list. I've spoken at length with my wife Beth and daughters. It is the right time to move on with pride, admiration, and respect for the work the officers and staff at the Stonington Police Department do each day. They help people, they save lives, they make a difference, and it's been an honor to lead them.
Here, here.
So,
Chief, it's been an honor working with you in the past, and in the past 5 years on the police commission here. We're going to severely miss your guidance and your expertise, and I wish you the best in your future endeavors, and I'm sure there'll be many of them to go.
I'm not running out the door yet.
I know you're not running out the door, but I'm going to let you run out the door because we've got to make some decisions here in the near future here. But I'd like to just point out that in the tape here, we have Father Tom, the head of our pastors, our chaplain unit. We have Ray Terrasaci, who former chairman of the police commission, and Henry Gorn, and also Suzette Tivis is always here. You know, they had no idea that you were going to say this, and until a short time ago, either did I. And we wish you the best, and I'm sure they all have the same thing to say. But at the same time, we're going to say goodbye to one of our current members, Bob Tabor. And, one time that happens, when you lose somebody from a commission that's been on for 5 years, you lose their expertise and their knowledge. And we're going to be sorely missing Bob's expertise that has contributed greatly to the success of the things that the chief has said. And we're going to miss him certainly. We have a few little things for you, Bob, that we want to give you. Let's see here. I have a couple of things that I have here. And the first thing is, there's been a joke on this commission about there being 3 Bobs. And there's things, so I've always been Bob 1, Bob 2, Bob 3. So we had this made. It says Connecticut Commission, and it has the Stonington patch, and it says Bob 2 with the commission's badge. So, and you can't put this on your card. You can put it on your golf cart. In addition, as well as protecting
Very nice.
as well as protecting the citizens of the state of Connecticut.
Real metal, too.
Yeah. As well as protecting the citizens of the town of Stonington, one of the things that we want to make sure that our police officers are protected, that they have the right equipment to do their job, the right training, and the right supervision, and hopefully that'll keep going here at the police department. But one of the things that we do maintain is we maintain at the Connecticut Police Academy, we maintain the memorial up there for fallen police officers, state, local, and federal. And this is a picture that I want to give you, Bob, and it says, "Never forget." So thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure, and we're going to let Suzette, I believe, has something she'd like to, well, she always has something to say.
Yes, you
Do you have anything to say about that?
Not a word.
I wrote that. Bob,
Yes, ma'am.
I know what you're gonna say to me is, I'll never be chair. And you never were. But, and you think that I did that to you
Well,
on purpose.
you
But I
orchestrated it
do.
pretty well.
But I know what it's like to spend 5 years, and all of us here know what that's like. You know what that's like. Public service, including you, Father Tom, is very difficult. But there are a lot of rewards because you're making the difference in people's lives. And what we do here as Board of Police Commissioners and police officers and the leadership here has been tremendous, Darren, you know, and well, you I'm going to say. But you make a difference in people's lives. And also you learn a lot along the way. So Bob, you've made a difference in this police commission. We appreciate all your help and your leadership. And on behalf of the current police commissioners and the past police commissioners, Robert Tabor, in appreciation for your outstanding leadership and service as vice chair and member of the Stonington Board of Police Commissioners, November 2016 to November 2021. And may we never forget you.
No, thank you very much.
A very private, small family audience
Yeah,
here.
no, this is the.
Well, could you be quiet?
Oh.
Um,
I thought you were done.
I know, but I'm not done. Then just keep standing.
Okay.
But on behalf of me personally and the members of the community, I have to say I came in with Darren. And I've never regretted the work that he has done with this police department. Gonna miss him, but he's not going anywhere because I have the opportunity to know his wife and his 3 girls, love his 3 girls, and I know his little granddaughter, Isla, and there's gonna be a part of Darren that you're going to see in a different way in the community. And what he has done in his 14 years is exceptional, probably one of the longest running chiefs, right? Or you?
He is.
He is.
He is.
But he's retiring from here, but going on to much better things.
We'll see what goes on, but I want to talk about this
Yeah.
chap.
Well, wait a minute.
Hang on.
This guy right here, knowing him in the community too, Bob. You know I love you, even though you've got that other side
I'll
to
probably see you.
you. But thank you.
So,
Yeah.
Wait, sit down, people want to, you don't get your chance, sit down. The chief's got something to say, and then we're gonna open it up to any of the other commissioners. who wanna say anything.
No swearing.
Commissioner Tabor
Yes.
did not miss one police commission meeting in 5 years.
Wow.
Did not miss one.
I did that in grammar
Me,
school.
I missed one, he didn't miss any.
He was a good student, he had perfect attendance, perfect attendance. But I also always, as you know, I give a little list. You hired 10 officers, promoted 1 lieutenant, promoted 3 sergeants, 2 animal control officers, and you're here for each and every, even special meetings. One of the fondest memories I have with you coming on the commission is right away you got thrown into the fire when we were trying to do the radio system.
Yep.
And Brian Benz and yourself accompanied me with the checkbook
With a check.
to another community with every intention of putting pen to ink and going with a system with another community. And you being the astute banker that you always had been, and the money going on, I know, sorry, don't, was that you sighing over there, Suzette, over there? Banker. The numbers just started to not make sense.
Didn't make sense.
And I remember you going, let's leave. And we got up and walked out of that meeting.
That was actually my first official act, I think.
And we left,
Yeah,
and
we
that,
walked out.
and that, yeah, and I paid a price for that for a while, but that was all right.
Well-
And, but it ended up with us going down the road, soon afterwards with the state of Connecticut.
And Brian wasn't shy either.
Right, that it just didn't make sense to us at the time, and that's one of the things that has sort of been a reinforced by you and your background, having been on the Board of Finance in the past, and a banker, that you have to take care of the people's money.
Yeah.
And you've always been that, you come in here, you don't break the seal open on the packet when you walk through the door, you've done your homework, you're here, you ask the right questions. It's not a simple yes or a simple no, it's about doing what's right for the town. And you've done that for five years, every meeting, been there, great sounding board. I don't know where you want to strive with Suzette, I'd keep it for another 5, I have no problem whatsoever with that. And you leave here, Bob, knowing that you have the respect and thanks of all the officers here at the police department.
Well,
So I
thanks.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Would any of the other commissioners like to say anything about Bob, or you just want to pass it on? Okay. Father, Henry, you want to say something?
In the words of Bob himself, not to belabor the point.
Right.
Thank you for all your service.
Thank you. It's,
Right,
Sure.
I didn't see.
I gotta say something.
Okay.
In the time that I was on the commission, found it a great rewarding time. I met many good friends, one of which was Bob Tabor. And thank you for your service, and you'll be missed on the board. And I'm sure you will miss, for the next couple of meetings, you'll miss being here, but you'll get over it.
It's been a quick 5 years. And I think probably the highlight, if you will, is what Darren just referred to, that I kind of got thrown into the mix there right away, and I think it certainly was unexpected that we walked out, but in the long run, we saved the town a lot of money, and we ended up with a much more robust system than we would have if we had gone down that first path. And there's been certainly some other highlights. One of which most recently was the reintroduction, I speak to Father Carmine, for me, the reintroduction of the chaplain program. I think that's a winner. I think it, I know our neighbor benefited, his brother passed away within the last month at Woods Point, and he commented to me afterwards, a few days afterwards, the brother, who's my friend, how impressed he was with the chaplain that arrived at the scene. It was just Oh, Suzette, you can't go.
Oh,
No, you have to stay here.
Are we?
Just that, please, thank you. You don't have any place else that's more important.
Oh,
So,
wait, we're.
just calm down, just calm down, just calm down. Cool your heels, please.
She's speechless.
Okay, but one last comment that I find particularly meaningful for me. In the 5 years and with the various chairmen that we've had and the commission members, I can honestly say in that 5-year duration, nobody came in with a D on their shirt or an R on their shirt. They all arrived at these meetings with an S for Stonington on their shirt. And I think I had that benefit when I was on the Board of Finance. We had some tough meetings. There were some very strong personalities, as there were here too. But at the end of the day, we're here to serve on behalf of the town. And there is no place for politics. And I say that full-throatedly, as much, I mean, there was I didn't know what Henry's political affiliation was for the longest time. And I think I think that's the most meaningful thing, if we can all adhere to that. Congratulations, Darren. And I have one thing I'd like to get, if you would just keep this door open for me, Bob, please. Yes. Don't go away.
They're sneaking out. We should know it.
They're running. They're starting to run now, really.
I don't know, there's something going on.
It's gonna be on tape.
It's probably got something special for you, Suzette.
No, you know where I have to go. I know, okay. What the heck is he doing, you know what I mean? Oh.
This is for the chief, no, it's not. I would have had different paper if it was for the chief. But one of the other things that was, I think, critically important for my 5 years is both the chief and the captain being here for that duration, because I think they bring the continuity of service to the police department. But in saying that, in my 5 years of service, there's also been one other person who eschews the limelight as much as she can. But, because she's very shy, but she's actually a past chairwoman. She was probably a vice chairwoman at one point, but then she was elevated to chairwoman. I'm happy to be chairman, not vice chair. But I think for the continuity, even though she doesn't have an official capacity,
Yeah.
but she has dealt with on some regularity all of the chairmen that I had worked with.
But you need help.
And so, I think
You can't do
to
it.
kind of acknowledge
No.
that unofficial capacity, I am designating today,
Jim, help me out.
we're installing today, Suzette Tevis, the Grand Duchess of the Stonington Police Commission. Installed this 14th day of October 2021. Now, you know she couldn't be the
Jerry!
queen. She can't be the queen because there's only one queen in town, that's Joyce. Right? And she can't be the princess because, well, her princess days are well gone. But
O'Shaughnessy,
No, don't forget,
this is
the Grand Duchess, I thought was appropriate.
Bob,
Yeah,
get between the
you
two.
do.
Oh, I'll take off my mask.
Let's have this.
This- What?
Hold it up here.
You had to,
Bob,
this is
over
sickening.
here. Look up.
I think it's great. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, you guys are getting a kick out of this.
And you know, that her father,
Where's Joe
her father was a World War II hero in the Philippines. But, you know, if he hadn't immigrated, can't you see Suzette back in the old country? No, so.
Tell the Marcus would have nothing on her.
And she has to go, but the granddaughter.
Is that for
Don't
her or
forget the
Chuck?
Bob, the,
Time for her
the
or
night
Chuck?
is not over, Bob.
No, I'm sure Chuck will probably keep that
I'm
as a
sure,
very
I'm not
prominent
quite
spot.
sure.
Or use it as target practice
Thank you, actually, thank you for the love.
Pause this.
Other things. Do you have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Oh, this is going on.
So moved.
Second.
We are joined.